Bioshock is a video game that came out in August of 2007 and was released to critical acclaim with a very high Metacritic score, and a lot of people liked it. I mean, like, it's kind of crazy how many people liked it. But then in 2016, there was a controversial-ish remaster, which was kind of a side-ish update grade kind of weird thing. Didn't really feel like a remaster, had slightly improved graphics with slightly better lighting and some new models, but it came with a slur of new issues. So today I'm going to be going into detail, kind of, on which is better to get, the original version of the game or the remaster. The original version of the game was great, but now in modern day hardware it does have some problems. One of them being the mouse sensitivity. Now, the mouse sensitivity is set to 2500 by default on the mouse. Now you have to go into the ini files and change it to whatever you would like. And sometimes it even resets, so you have to do this regularly. It's a major problem that plagues almost everybody that plays the game. And also, it sometimes doesn't work for some situations in the game, which can kind of be annoying at times. Another problem the game faces is audio glitches and bugs. Sometimes audio will cut other audio out while it's playing because of lack of channels in the game. Also, the FOV is by default set really low, so sometimes you will have to go into the game files and bind a key to fix that. That's really all the problems there are for the original version of Bioshock, but other than that, it runs perfectly fine, and even with a later update, you can unlock horizontal field of view, so you may not be able to have a slider and pick, but at least it's better than, I think, the default of 75 field of view that the original game has. Now let's talk about the remaster version and what it did right and what it did wrong. Well, one of the good things it did was improve some of the models and added more seaweed and other stuff to make it feel like you're underwater more. But the thing is, with updating the game, still running on a heavily modified version of Unreal Engine 2.5, it pushed the limit, the engine to its limit, which caused lots of crashing on launch. And it still can crash, it's unstable. But for me, in 2023 to 4, maybe one time it's crashed on me, but not as much as it used to. The mouse problem was still there on the original version of the game when it first came out of the remaster, but then it later got patched out. That fixed a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah, it did, but with the cost of stability. Another thing that annoys me is how in the game you cannot skip cutscenes or propaganda whenever you pick up a new plasmid. For some reason, you cannot do that in the remaster and can only do it in the original. The audio bug seems to be fixed, but also, I bring up again, for a lot of people, the game crashes. And let's not forget how it's 5 times the amount of space that the original game is, which I do not think is justified by the new models added in. Animations look pretty much the same and have not been improved a lot or none at all. But another problem with the game is that it seems that some behaviors of the enemy are not working properly. In the original version of the game, you could light people on fire, and if there was water near, they'd jump in. But me and others have noticed that they don't do this anymore, and now you can't shock them once they jump into the water. I really don't know what is going on there, but just to be safe, I'd play the original. Also, the original on launch had way more graphics options, and the remaster barely had any. Also, me personally, I do prefer some of the old models that the original game had, and there's no option to change this at all. And overall, the lighting is improved, but in some scenarios, there are actually worse lighting. This port did bring the game to Xbox and PlayStation next generation consoles, instead of it just being on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. The game runs pretty good on those consoles too, but on PC is only where I've noticed some issues. For me personally, I do have an issue with the game. Every single time I boot up the game, no matter what I change in the INI files or the ini files, I cannot get the game to launch in full screen mode, which causes me to have to go to settings every single time I open the game to change that. Minor annoyance, but it is an annoyance at that. So which version do you think I should get on, or you should get on Steam? I'd say the original version of the game because it's the more stable version of the game, but you can get the remaster too because it's alright.